Welcome to Where We Talk About Films, the podcast where we talk about films. My name is Vidar Joshi. I'm your host, and this is the last episode of season one of Where We Talk About Films. I know it's been like a really small journey, but it's been a great one. And having these conversations with these beautiful, supremely talented artists, they've taught me so much. We're planning to have another season pretty soon, maybe next year, but pretty soon. So about today's episode, we have with us Mr. Devashish Makhija. He's a writer, director, filmmaker, the beautiful storyteller. Now, if you have seen his films, you know this episode can get a little intense, and it does, but it's so much fun. So let's just get into it.
We met 2 years ago, and you said that your seniors have exploited you a lot. And if I come to assist you, I will exploit you a lot in the whole thing. So, can you at that time we didn't get a chance to lead that conversation ahead. So, what are your thoughts on that? Why would you say that?
Yeah, I mean, I try and be as upfront as possible about how exploitative the independent cinema space is. And there's no, I'm not going to mince my words.
Yeah.
And we should call a spade, and that doesn't get done often. You know, in North America, there was this period in the early 90s, especially after the release of Sex, Lies and Videotape. That sort of started a phase of 5 or 6 years where a lot of independent, very, very small budget films were being made.
Okay.
And a lot of really good actors came out of that era. And when the actors sort of stopped doing those independent films, they started doing studio films, they started really blasting those independent filmmakers and just the ecosystem around those small independent films.
Yeah.
They said, you guys sort of romanticize the hardships and the lack of resources and the difficulties of making those films, but y'all never talk about the fact that nobody gets paid, nobody gets decent food. We are shooting 16 hours a day. You're flouting each and every rule that each and every union and guild in America has ever come up with. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
So when you are working in that kind of an unhealthy ecosystem where it's not conducive to long-term making of cinema, you can only do this for 1 film, 2 films, max 3 films. Then you burn out.
Yeah.
Because you're not being able to feed yourself as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
When you can't sustain that ecosystem, is it an ecosystem worth having? Are we deluding ourselves by, only focusing on how romantic that notion of the martyr filmmaker is? Because I suffered on all my short films and including my features. Both of my features were made in record time, in record budgets. People didn't get paid what they should have gotten paid.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that should be done, because if you do that, a film like Ajji or a film like Ugly Bar will never get made. So obviously some corners have to be cut for those films to be made. Even now, I made 2 short films earlier this year that I produced myself with every last rupee I had ever saved. So I got together a bunch of people, young short filmmakers, very passionate, little mafia, I call it, my little mafia, because there's no other way to make a short film or a feature film in an independent manner unless you approach it like a war.
Yeah.
So I prepared my team saying, you're going to war, you're all soldiers, be ready to die, because I know I am. Because even on Ajji, when I was diagnosed with the startings of cancer, I pretty much prepared my associate director and my first AD with the short breakdown with such detail. I was prepared that if I die today, the shoot should not stop. So I go in treating it like a war, because I know I don't have the resources to treat it like a job.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder, is that worth it? Because I might do this once, I might do it twice, I might do it 10 times. But can I sustain it for life? No.
Yeah.
So even the 2 short films I made this year, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Because I can see that disappointment in the people I work with, beyond the point when you're not getting paid, not getting really good food or really good, a good pickup to a difficult location 4 hours away. It sort of tells. It tells on your performance. It tells on your own willingness to give 100%. So nobody calls out the independent space for these minuses. We only look at it for the romanticization of, we are bleeding to make our art. Yeah, you'll bleed once, you'll bleed twice, and you'll run out of blood. Where will you bring more blood from, man?
Yeah.
So this needs to be spoken about as well.